Today's conversation is sponsored by the Billy Keels Advisory Program. If you want to learn more about how to make your 9 to 5 optional, just go to billykeels.com/advising. Once again, that's billykeels.com/advising.
You're listening to the Going Long podcast, the #1 podcast for the strategies, tactics, and actions highway journers need for living an intentionally designed life of wealth and resilience.
Welcome to the Going Long podcast. We're back once again to continue to help to educate you so you feel much more comfortable as well as confident in building the wealthy and resilient lifestyle that you want to build and be able to do that much faster. I'm your host, Billy Keels, and I am super excited to welcome you back to another one of the Going Long episodes. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome you back as the host. I also want to say thank you to each and every one of you that continue to download the podcast. You continue to share it with family, with friends. We keep seeing it in the numbers, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you for that, especially those of you that continue to tag us on LinkedIn, on Instagram. It's really, really awesome. Continues to bring more people to the Going Long family, and could not thank you enough. So thank you so much for that. And then also, if you want to check out any of the more than 430 plus episodes at this point in time, just go to billykeels.com/podcast. You can check out the audio, the video, the transcripts, all that kind of good stuff. billykeels.com/podcast, and you'll be able to check out everything. So, one of the things that I typically do a lot, and this is why you're tagging me on LinkedIn, you're tagging me on Instagram, is I'm over there interacting and doing a lot of, just sharing stories and stuff like that. And one of the things that actually was pretty surprising was I was talking about a trip recently that not recently had a trip, but recently I was talking about a trip that I had like just before the year 2000. And the whole point of what I was sharing and what I didn't realize was going to resonate so much, it was like, it's like a clear 4-step process that I want to talk to you about how to overcome your fears. Not only because it's important, it's something that I've had to do in the past, and I continue to confront fears all the time, because now I know that it's false evidence appearing real, and you just continue to work through that. But I also know that I was stuck for a while. And so the fact that I was stuck because I had a fear, I'm not the only one. As much as I'd like to believe like, hey, I'm super unique and all that kind of stuff, the reality is I've been through fear, you've been going through fear, or you know somebody who has. So I thought I'd share just a little bit of a story, and I want to share this so that you will learn this powerful 4-step process to overcome fears, because it's the exact 4-step process that I use to overcome fears and that I continue to use. And surprise, surprise, you're going to find out here what it is. But if you want to go back in time, right? So this was back in 1999, actually, specifically, I remember because it was November 1999. Back at this point in time, in my late 20s or mid 20s, probably 26, something like that. Yep, I guess if I do the math real quick in my mind. And so traveling around the world, I'd probably been to, at this point in time, 30, 35 countries, something like that, and found myself with the board of directors of American Express in Beijing and Hong Kong. And so this was an absolutely amazing opportunity because, of course, at the time, there was a guy named Harvey Golub who was the CEO. And so Dr. Henry Kissinger was there. It was amazing. And of course, I'm mid-20s, so I don't really understand the magnitude of who they are. And, I'm talking to them like, hey, Harvey, how's it going? And Dr. Kissinger, and also even Ken Chenault was there, who eventually became the CEO of American Express. And so be able to interact with them on a name-to-name basis was pretty amazing. But let me not digress too terribly much. So as we're traveling between Beijing and Hong Kong, and never been out that far east before, absolutely amazing. And so during that trip, I decided to go and travel with a friend of mine. And I'm not going to say my friend's name, although I think I'm going to share this episode only because I didn't actually track my friend down in advance. And that would have been really cool to say, hey, look, do you mind if I share this thing? And so anyway, I didn't. And so the trip after Beijing and Hong Kong went to Bali in Indonesia, which is actually absolutely fantastic. And so the whole thing is, imagine like I'm 26, I'd been traveling around the world. Like this point in time, I do pretty much anything, everything. I bungee jumped and all this kind of stuff was, I just wanted to say, hey, look, I'll do anything and everything. But on the inside, like I just kind of wanted to continue to be brave and know that I could do and partake in these really amazing opportunities, whether it would be on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia or doing whatever, like walking the Great Wall of China in China. That was one of the things that I did. But then when we got to Bali, which was completely different, there was this like going around and you're seeing temples and all this other kind of stuff. And I remember on one of the early days, I was like, I started like walking through a temple and then walking out and seeing these bats. And I was like, oh, like I didn't even want to move forward. Bats, not like in baseball bats, but like the bats, like the murciélagos, as they say in Spanish, like the things that fly. And so I just remember like when I saw it was kind of like I was walking with this friend, and as we're walking, all of a sudden I just get panic stricken, like woo, because I didn't want to like not look cool. There was this fear of the unknown because there's this bat. I was like, is the bat going to come over this way? It was really kind of weird. And I never ever been even in the vicinity that close to a bat. So it was like, all right, well, I was panicked. Like my armpits were sweating, my nose was completely sweating. It was just really, really weird. And I was walking around trying to stay cool. And we kind of gone from one place to the next, and it was a couple of that was the initial kind of thing. And then we were there for a couple of days, and so went to different temples, and eventually um, came to another one. And I started realizing to myself, I was like, hang on a second, Billy. Like as I looked around, there were other people that had these bats, and they were literally taking pictures with bats. And there were like ladies that were, I would say, or at least they looked like they were 30 years older than me or 40 years older than me. And at this point in time, they probably were not, because well, time and it just does something on you. The perspective of time. But anyway, let's imagine they were 30 years older than me, so they're in their late 50s. And then and they were literally holding these bats, and the bats were there, and they were taking pictures. And then I saw like kids that were probably 10, 12 years old. I thought, well, Billy, if they're doing it, like what is holding you back from actually doing the exact same thing? Like, but not just watching the bats, but literally going up and grabbing a bat and being able to hold it, take a picture with it like they were doing. And so as I watched these older people, younger people, everybody was in it. And I was like, you know what? I really want to overcome this fear. I did not much longer. I'd done bungee jumping, and I was like, this is another fear. So let me see. Let me sit down. And what I realized that I wanted to do is as we're walking through Indonesia, the Jimbaran Bay was pretty awesome. I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to come up with a plan. Like I'm going to figure out like exactly what I need to do to be able to get, control my breathing, get over there, and grab the bat, number one. So able to come up with like my own personal game plan. Like what was I going to do to be able to get in the right mental state, in the right physical, like not completely petrified, to go over and be able to grab the bat. And then afterwards, I was looking for more information. I wanted to understand, like, is this bat going to bite me? Like, what are its triggers? Like, is it going to eat me? Like all these different things that were going on in my mind, like really overly working my mind about all the terrible things that could happen if I got close enough to this bat. And then, so because I wasn't traveling alone, and although it kind of seemed a little bit silly, I was asking my friend, like, hey, listen, would you like would you be there to just in case, like if something happens, I don't want my parents to think that I was completely eaten alive by a bat. They probably wouldn't want to know that I was here with this bat, but I need you there for support. And so my friend was like, all right, yeah, sure, absolutely, be there, support you. We'll even take a picture if you want. I'll be the one who takes the picture. And so I got my support system involved. And then afterwards, it was literally like it was time to go. So we were in this temple, and I thought about exactly what I wanted to do. I got to a point where I got enough education that I figured out that the bat wasn't going to eat me alive. My support system was there, and my friend. And then lastly, it was like just go and tackle the fear. Boom. Went in, went to the temple, watched other people, paid my thing, held the bat. The bat was like literally as I'm like shaking, shivering, nose is completely sweating, armpits are completely just doused. And at the same time, I'm shaking and I'm grabbing, like the person comes over to give me the bat, and like I'm grabbing it, and I was able to kind of grab it at each wing. And then all of a sudden, click, and it grabs me around the waist. And I'm like, oh, take the picture, take the picture. And so the picture got taken. Right. I'm doused in sweat, completely like this permagrin smile on my face. I wrote about this on LinkedIn. If you want to see it, like you should go and check out the LinkedIn profile. I don't even know where it is. I think you can search it and all that kind of stuff. But the whole point is like, look, at the end of the day, it was not graceful. I was not cool, calm, and collected when I grabbed this bat when I finally went through this process. But what I realized after the fact was, hey, listen, even though I didn't probably look the best or seem the calmest and coolest, like I got through it. I literally got through it. I was there. I had friend, I had support, and I got through my fear, which was actually being able to come up close and personal, and actually even to the point of being able to hold a bat, right? And be able to take a picture, memorialize it. And even to this day, like we're talking like almost a quarter of a decade later, and I'm still telling this story. So you're thinking, well, yeah, Billy, well, why are you telling this story? Because it's no different than if you are in a big company and you have a fear of doing something that you know in your gut that you really want to do. You want to be able to test it. You want to be able to try it. Or heck, if you're in your own business and you want to start a new line of business, you got this same kind of fear. You know what that fear is? It's false evidence appearing real. It's holding you back. It's limiting the beliefs that you have. And so the thing that I wanted to be able to help you to understand and be able to learn is this powerful 4-step process. It's really super simple, which makes it easy for you to be able to put into practice. And hey, you may not be like, look super confident and get to the next thing right away, but you're going to get through it, right? Just follow these 4 steps. It's really quick, really quick. I just want to reiterate them. Number 1, come up with your game plan. What is the game plan? What is the fear that you're going to tackle? Get educated on whatever the subject is. If you want to create a side hustle, figure out what that is, dig deep into it, find your passion, go deep, become the best that you can in that. If it's a new line of business in your current company, same thing. Understand, do the market analysis, see what's out there, see where the opportunities exist. What are the strengths within your team that you can leverage to be different? And then definitely get involved with some kind of support system. One of the things that I was very, very fortunate, invested in plane tickets, flew, and was there with a friend of mine. For you, it may be invested in guided action, having someone that's there helping you side by side to be able to take the step, they've already stepped there before you. They can help you to understand exactly what it is that you should be able to do so you can minimize the fears and, more importantly, minimize the amount of time to get to the end goal. And then lastly, tackle whatever the fear is. Just take action and move through it. So that's the 4 simple steps, that the 4 powerful steps that I know are going to help you create the game plan, get educated on the subject, involve a support system, and tackle the fear. So as I have shared that with you today, definitely if you know of somebody who this can help, make sure you share the podcast, and not just share it, but have a follow-up phone call or WhatsApp message or whatever it is, that whatever your favorite messaging system is, get on, talk about the concepts that I've just shared right now. Because you may find that you may need to adapt them a little bit, but just talk about it. Go from the theory into action, put it in practice. Would love to hear how it's working out for you. Send us a great review on here on the send the review, but let us know how things are working out. Also too, if you want to connect, I'm always happy to connect with over on LinkedIn. And I think we'll even tell you how you can connect with me directly. So with that, while you are taking this episode, putting it into practice, I'll be here preparing for the next episode. So until then, go out and make it a great day. And thank you very much. Today's conversation was sponsored by the Billy Keels Advisory Program. If you're looking to make your 9-to-5 optional and need some help, just go to billykeels.com/advising. Once again, that's billykeels.com/advising.